And so in the spirit of what you're feeling right now, that's exactly perfect. So just take a breath. Just relax. I feel just like you feel. And so that's good. I love to hear this stuff. I love to hear the Course in Miracles. So take a breath, just relax, and let's welcome our brothers and sisters in that are coming in on Facebook Live. And set a goal for yourself in terms of what you'd like to accomplish today. Welcome my mighty companions. Facebook Live and in the room. Hello, Marlette, Janet, Sophia, Linda, Christopher, Blue Sky, Demola, and everyone that's joining us right now. We're going to give this instant to the Holy Spirit, the loving right mind. Certain that the Holy Spirit's, the loving mind's direction gives us peace. This is lesson 365. This prayer, this song is based on lesson 365, the last lesson in the workbook. Because I will follow you. Welcome to A Course in Miracles on Facebook Live. I'm Earl Purdy. And I'm excited to join and hear some words of truth and inspiration today. And I hope that you are too. There's only one rule. You don't have to believe it, accept it, welcome it. Some of it's going to be hard to believe. Some of it's going to be quite startling. You're not asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. If you use the ideas, you will see that they're true. If you use it, if you change your perception in line with what I'm hearing, you will see that it works. There are some things that are beyond our comprehension according to the Course. There are some things that we cannot do alone. There are some things that we cannot handle on our own. And our awakening is the one thing that you can't do on your own. It's not at the level of consciousness that the human mind operates from that you can achieve the kind of miracles that the Course in Miracles is talking about. It is for those who want to have support and help from their greater self, God within. And they want all the blocks removed from loving themselves. Those are the people who study the Course. And I want to tell God that I will follow you. I will follow you now. I will follow higher power. I will follow the voice for love. I will follow the voice of truth right now. I want to surrender. I want to surrender my life. I want to surrender my thoughts. I want to surrender my feelings. I want to surrender every part of me that has any kind of separation, any kind of fear, at any level. I want to give it up and tell myself this holy instant. Would I give to you, God? Be you in charge. We're going to be on lesson, I got 2 lessons that I want to cover today from the workbook that I see as being like key lessons in A Course in Miracles in terms of changing our mind. There's some of these lessons that you can't hear them too much. The first lesson is lesson 48, if you have the book. I got a few extra copies up here in case you want to use them. The first lesson is called There's Nothing to Fear. Do you have any fears about anything?
Yes.
Okay, I hope you're not that much in denial. That you think you're in a world that there appears to be fear, but it has no connection to your consciousness at all. Because if you have that perception, you think you're separate. So, actually, the truth is, if you have any area of your life that you have anything other than peace in, that's the area that you have fear in. Of course, the miracle says there's only love or fear. And so what I like to do in the classes is not be in a class to be in denial about what's going on, but actually to be in the class to bring up what's going on that needs to be released so that we can have a healed mind. Is anybody else with me on that? Yeah, okay. So I'm not here to just make you feel good, which I usually don't. But
Thanks for coming.
Depending on what I'm saying. You know, if I'm saying what you agree with, probably feels good.
Yeah.
But if I say something that you don't agree with that's opposite to what you think is true, probably some resistance comes up. So this section called There's Nothing to Fear. Nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be afraid of. Sometimes that looks like that's not the truth. Sometimes it seems like that's not the truth. Believe it or not, that you can hear that a lot online. Now you can say there's nothing to fear, or you can say there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. See what I'm saying? Depending on the inflection that you want to use, you get an entirely different meaning. You can say there is nothing to fear, or you can say there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to it. Today's idea simply states a fact. It's a fact. That's a fact. It's a fact. But it's not a fact to those who believe in illusions. And the Course in Miracles says an illusion is a false idea. It's a fear. So if you, whatever area of your life that you believe in a fear, it doesn't seem to you like there's nothing to fear. But illusions are not facts. False ideas are not facts. Fears are not facts. But in truth, in reality, that means whether you realize it or not, Earl, whether you agree with it or not, there is nothing to fear. So whether you think so or not, there's nothing to be afraid. Who's really with me today? Who's conscious going to stay with me? Because I want to focus in on who's going to stay with me today. Okay, because I really want to focus on the people who want to focus on this today. Because I want to go deeper and deeper in the Course in Miracles. And for that to happen, I need to focus on who stays conscious with me. Okay, so you're going to find I'll be interacting with you more and asking you for more commitment to your own awakening.
Yes.
Okay, is that cool?
Yes.
All right, great. Online, is that cool? Don't forget online, comment to each other, comment, like, share the video on your timeline. I'm glad you're here. I feel you're here. There are always hundreds of people online as well as the people who are watching in the room. I sure appreciate you taking the time to come out physically and to be here and to be with me so that we can learn this together. So it says, in truth, there's nothing to fear. It's very easy to recognize that there's nothing to fear. Do you know that the Course says it's very easy to recognize that there's nothing to be afraid of, but it's very difficult to recognize that there's nothing to be afraid of if you want your fears to be true. If you want the thing to be true that's not true, it's difficult to recognize it's not true. If you want your fears to be true, then it's very difficult to recognize they aren't true. If you want any form of lack or upset in your life right now, it's saying if you want that to be true, if you want to believe that's true, then it's not easy to recognize that it's not true. Okay? So the things that's not easy to recognize that are not true in your life are only those things that you want to be true. So if I say it's not true, your lack isn't true, and you go, I don't recognize that that's not true, the Course in Miracles is saying that's because you want it to be true. And so it says, today's practice periods will be very short, very simple, and very frequent. That sounds like the kind that I can do. I can do short stuff, frequent stuff, and simple stuff. Okay, that fits my modality of learning. It says, what does that mean? It just says repeat it as often as possible. Repeat it as often as possible. You can use it with your eyes closed, in any time, in any situation. I'm right here now, in this time, in this situation, so I can say, there's nothing to be afraid of, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear about you. There's nothing to fear about anything. Now, don't forget that in the directions for the workbook, The Course in Miracles says that there is no need to believe this, accept this, or welcome it. You're going to find it hard to believe, and it might seem startling. So a person who thinks they have illusions and fears, to be told that there is nothing to fear might be startling and may meet with resistance. So I'm going to say this very slowly so that you'll hear it. Your understanding and your belief is not a powerful contribution to the truth.
Yeah.
Your understanding is not what's ultimately going to make this work. So the first thing we have to do is hear the truth. Not necessarily believe it, but hear it. So I know you may think there are things for you to be upset about. I know you may think there are things that may not be going exactly the way you want them to. It still doesn't mean that you really have anything to be afraid of. And even if you don't believe it, you can say, there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. I'm scared as hell, but I'm going to say there's nothing to fear. I'm upset as I can be about whatever I'm upset about. But I can still tell myself there's nothing to be upset about. There's nothing to be upset about. I can be afraid of anything and still say there's nothing to fear. So what's not necessary is your belief before you say it. It just said, repeat it as often as possible with your eyes closed or your eyes open in any situation. It is strongly recommended, which is a recommended that's strong, that you take a minute or so, whenever possible, to close your eyes and say slowly, there is nothing to fear. 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 And what should you do if anything disturbing happens to your peace of mind? Should anything disturb your peace of mind, should anything or anybody disturb your peace of mind, notice that our process is to analyze it. Our process is, let me tell you what happened to me at work yesterday so I can tell you what it is that I'm afraid about and what the person did that's making me afraid. There's nowhere in this lesson that is saying that. It just said, should anything disturb your peace of mind, use this idea when? Immediately. Yeah. I'm mad at you. There's nothing to fear. I'm upset. There's nothing to fear. There's something that's bothering me. There's nothing to fear. Then it says, now this sentence, this next sentence coming up is, to me, the most important sentence in this entire lesson. Check this out. It says, the presence of fear is a sure sign that you are trusting in your own strength. If you feel afraid, you're trusting in your own strength separate from God. If you're upset, you're trusting in your own strength separate from God. The presence of fear means what? I'm trusting in my own strength separate from God. That's what it means. It says I'm trusting in my own strength. So when I feel fear after studying the Course for so long, what I say to myself is, boy, I've been really trusting in my strength separate from God today. Right now when it comes to my finances, I'm trusting in my own strength. Right now when it comes to my relationship, I'm trusting in my own strength. What's happening on my job right now that's got me disturbed, I'm trusting in my own strength. The problem I'm having with my relatives right now is I'm trusting in my own strength. The problem I'm having with the present administration and the government is, oh, I'm trusting in my own strength. So whenever you're afraid, go, I'm trusting in my own strength. Oh, what's been happening? I've been trusting in my own strength all day. See, that's the way a conscious being begins to exercise and use the Course in Miracles lessons. What you do is you start substituting the Course in Miracles definitions for the word. Like rather than me saying, I feel afraid, which is what the average person would say, if you really want to get rid of your fear, you say, I'm trusting in my own strength right now. It's what I used to call fear. It's what I used to call upset. It's me trusting in my own strength. Any questions, any comments about what I've covered so far? Everybody clear? Or if you want to make a comment, that's fine.
And just have this hit me, it's so sweet. It's like, when you were saying there's nothing to fear, there's no thing, no thing, thing being form limit.
Right.
To fear.
Right.
Which is doubt.
That's great. There is no thing to fear. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. Okay? But whenever you feel what you call fear, as soon as you can remember, say, I'm trusting in my own strength separate from God. I'm trusting in my own strength separate from love. I'm trusting in my own strength separate from the universe. Whatever your term is that you use for a greater power than your own ego. I like the word God personally because there are so many people around the world who associate God with a higher power that we can all call it. So I'd much rather tap into the collective consciousness of the entire planet than for me to come up, which I used to do, with my own words, because I'm still dealing with hang-ups that I got from a child when I learned that word. And that's okay too, you know. But you want to tap as much as you can. You want to tap into collective consciousness. Almost no matter what a person's religion is, they all associate God with the greater power that has the ability to create things that heal us. So I like the word God now, where I didn't at first as much as I do now. But guess what? I changed my mind. It's the most radical thing. I decided to change the way I looked at it, rather than trying to make sure nobody on earth said the word. It seemed like an easier way to handle it. I used to want everybody to change to fit my particular nature. And now it's just the opposite. I go, oh, it'd just be easier for me to just change my interpretation rather than to try to get you to say things the way that I want to hear you say it, and to hear you say things the way I want to hear you say it, and to get you to say things only the way I want to hear it said. It would be easier for me to change my perception of you doing that. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like that is a product of fear, is wanting everybody else to change for you. It's like, if they don't change, I'm going to be harmed. I'm fearful of what they're doing because I feel like I can be affected by it versus I can change how I look at it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear about the way you talk. I'm not going to freak out because of how you use words. How can I freak out about the way you use words and then tell myself I'm a spiritual master and I'm growing in confidence and love? Anybody, can you kind of get to that? Okay, and then online, let's see what we got. Sinead, thanks for joining. Christopher, thanks for joining. In the comments, Demola, I have strength separate from God. There's nothing to fear. Pamela says, I feel separate, but I'm not. So it doesn't matter if I feel separate. I'm actually not. That's another good one to say. Okay, all right. The other people just sending us tons of love. That's good too. Coming from every direction. Okay. All right. Yeah.
So it's funny because the ego wants to associate, like when I say there's nothing to fear, it wants to associate, but fear itself, the quote that President Roosevelt said.
That's accurate. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. That's what we are fearing, is fear itself. But the part that's missing is I'm the one making my fear. It's not like the fear is just happening to me. I'm the one that's making myself afraid. I'm the one that's making myself afraid about this situation and circumstance that I'm dealing with right now in my life. I'm the one that's making myself upset about this situation, circumstance, or person right now. I'm the one that's making myself upset. Then it goes on to say, the presence of fear is a sure sign that you're doing what? Trusting in your own strength. The awareness that there's nothing to fear shows that somewhere in your mind, or not necessarily in a place that you recognize as yet, you remembered God. So wherever you have the awareness that there's nothing to fear, that's the area of your life that you have remembered the truth. You remembered God and you remembered love. There may not be areas of your life that you have fear in. And what the Course is saying is, whether you realize it or not, that's where you are trusting. That's where you're correctly perceiving. That's where you are aware of the presence of God, which is love, which is safety. So there are some areas I'm aware of the presence of God in my life, and there's some areas that I'm not aware of the presence of God in my life. The areas that I'm not aware of the presence of God in my life, the Course in Miracles says, Earl, those are the areas you are handling.
Yes.
If you want to know what part of your life you're the one that's handling, it's everywhere that you don't have peace. So some of you all might be handling your whole life. And then the Course in Miracles says, because it says, the awareness that there's nothing to fear shows that somewhere in your mind, though not necessarily in the place you recognize it yet, you have remembered God. That's the area you have remembered truth. And how does that happen? He says, well, what you do is you let God's strength take the place of your weakness. So wherever you don't feel fear, Earl, that is where you have let the strength of love take the place of your fear and your weakness. And he says, the instant you're willing to do that, do what? Let God's strength take the place of your weakness, then you won't be afraid. So as you're willing to let the universe take over, then you won't be afraid. When you're ready to let spirit take over, then you won't be afraid. When you're ready to let love and truth take over, then you won't be afraid. Now my ego, the part of me that wants me to feel guilty about everything, rather than me focusing on what I just heard, what did I just hear? There's nothing to fear even though you think it is. I heard that whenever I'm afraid, it's because I'm handling it myself. Where I'm not afraid is where I'm letting God be in charge and letting God's strength take the place of my weakness. My ego wants me to waste a lot of time with beating myself up because I'm not trusting enough. Right. Where a conscious being is going, oh, how many times a day can I say there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to fear? Because that's all the exercise asks us to do. So don't let your ego trick you into analytical process about how did I get to do this, why did I do this, how can I stop? It's like, okay, how do you stop doing it? You stop doing it by doing what I say. And what I've said is you don't have to believe it and tell yourself there's nothing to fear instead of the stuff you think your mama did to you. So all the things that we think we're upset about that somebody's doing, which just means they're not acting the way we think they should to make us happy, you need to cut it out right now and focus on they're not doing anything to you. There is nothing to fear. You're in charge of that situation. You're the one that's coming up with how you think it should be handled and what should be going on. That's why you still have the fear and conflict. And when you really let the truth take over, which means I'm going to give it up to my higher self to let the Holy Spirit be in charge and be taught how to get out of the way in my thinking, the problem will be gone. So there is indeed nothing to fear. So that's the end of that lesson. That's one of those hard, difficult Course in Miracles lessons that is really tough for people to settle down and do. Yes. Right? Any questions, any comments about that lesson before I get into the next one, which is the one is even more intense because it's the one that I've seen work the most miracles in my life. If there's anyone online, if you have a question or comment, don't forget to, Nana says, I hear Cheryl laughing, yay. Yeah. I just suggest sit down and just let Cheryl sit up here and laugh. That's what gets more comments than any other thing that I do is Cheryl's laughter. I just thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate that.
Well, spiritual laughter.
Oh, I'm glad. I've been listening to it for, 15, 16 years. I'm so glad you're here. I can't tell you. So don't take that the wrong way. I'm totally grateful. Yeah. I'm totally grateful for it. Because you say, because you laugh as much from recognizing your ego as you do from recognizing the truth. That laughter isn't coming from you, not saying you got some crazy stuff that you see and your ego is doing like everybody else. You're doing what the Course says you should do. You should learn to laugh at your stuff instead of always getting so caught up in it, but that doesn't mean she's in denial about her ego. Right. And so that's the thing, because we think being sad somehow or another corrects it. You know what I'm saying? Like me being as sad as I can possibly be, this is going to correct it. All that does is make most people give you a wide berth. You're too depressing. I really don't want to be around you. That's, so I'm going to go, for some people that's just a way of life. The Course in Miracles is that some people being unhappy is such a way of life that they want to kill themselves if you take their problems away. And so spirit doesn't solve the problem until they wouldn't do themselves in for not having it. I thought that was interesting too. Wow. That your happiness await until you want to attack yourself because love has come to you. Because if love comes to you and you don't think you deserve it, then you actually resist it and you attack yourself for coming because you don't really think you deserve it in the first place. So you just deal with it, make yourself feel guilty and unworthy. Because it says that we think humility is self-debasement. That we think being humble means put yourself down. Oh, me, I couldn't be this great. I couldn't be this one. Little old pitiful me. So the Course says we actually think putting ourselves down, it makes us a humble person. So the next time you get a compliment, instead of just receiving it and saying thank you, you resist the compliment. Have you met people that you cannot compliment? Yes. And every time you try to say anything good about them, they go out of their way to dispel that and to resist that. Right. So that's a person that's saying to the universe, don't acknowledge me, don't acknowledge me, don't recognize me, don't acknowledge me, don't acknowledge me. And do you know what they be complaining about most of the time?
Nope.
Somebody not acknowledging them, somebody not giving them attention, and somebody not loving them the way that they think they should. That's what's so deep about us. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm telling you don't do it, you don't do it, now I got a grievance. You know. Oh, Lord. Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. All right. Okay, the next one I'm going to go to is called Lesson 50. It's called, I Am Sustained by the Love of God.
Ooh.
That is one of my favorite, all-time favorite lessons in the workbook. Now, when it says, I am sustained by the love of God, it's not saying, I am sustained by, I love you, God, 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 I love you, Jesus, I love you, Christ, I love you, God, I love you, God, I love you, God, I love you, don't forget y'all. I love you, God, I love you, God, I love you, Jesus, I love you, get out the way, you don't need no food. I love you, God, I love you, Jesus, I love you, God. It is not saying you are sustained by praising God. It's saying you are sustained by God's love. I am sustained by the love of God for me and you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm sustained by the love of God, not my, because you see, in our special relationships, that's the way we do it. I need you to tell me 100 times a day, I love you, Earl, I love you, Earl, I love you, Earl. You're so important to me, Earl, you're the most important thing in the world. I love you, I love you. See, that's the way we do it. And then we think if a person doesn't do it enough, what happens? I get upset. You haven't told me you love me for the last week. You know, there are people like that. There are people you can say, I love you every day, and the one day you don't. They collapse in fear and insecurity. So we think our Creator also requires that kind of praise. So it's got, I better say I love God. I better say I love God all day long. I love you, Jesus. I love you, Christ. I love you, God. No. God's love is sustaining us. Life is sustaining us. God is love. God is love. God is life. God is life. God is the universe. God is sustaining us. Love is sustaining you. You are sustained by the love of God. You are sustained by the love of the Creator. Why is it that I don't know that? Well, he just told us in lesson 48, there's nothing to fear. You're trusting in your own strength and not doing what you're being told by the voice of God to do. If I don't do what the voice of God tells me to do, then I don't get the result that I'm looking for. I don't know why it is. I think I got to not do it, but I'm going to get the result. There's a part of me that's like that. You know, I'm not really saying there's nothing to fear whether I believe it or not. I'm not saying there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to fear. Immediately when I get upset, there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to fear. I'm not doing that, but then that's why I don't know I'm sustained by the love of God. Because I'm not doing what I'm being asked to do. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? So if you're saying you want the result that the Course is offering, which is perfect and complete joy, take a breath. You must do what it says to achieve that. If I wanted to drive my car from my home to the church, I had to do what was necessary to achieve that. Hearing about putting my car in gear didn't get me here. So just hearing this in and of itself is not going to give you the result that you're looking for, but I did need to learn that there was a such thing as gear shifts before I started to use it, right? So you may be in the stage of hearing it. Many Course in Miracles students have never heard the Course in Miracles. And many Course in Miracles students have never read it. So the Course says, how can you say you want something and be sincere about it, but you don't want to use the means to achieve it? So how can I say, I'm a student of the Course, but I don't use the Course? That doesn't go together. That doesn't go together. And if you do use the Course, and if you really get into the Course, it's going to hook your butt. And you're not going to be able to put it down. You're going to go from, I can't read it because it's so difficult, and they got the master terminology, and got the Christian terminology, and it reads really weird, to every time you get a chance, you're going to try to put your nose in that book to apply it to what you're going through, because you're going to start seeing changes in you if you really do it that blows your mind. And that doesn't mean that you won't go through resistance, and it doesn't mean that you are going to have everything turn out the way you want it to in form. Right? It doesn't mean, because I'm studying the course, if I want to marry Cheryl, that I'm going to end up married to Cheryl, and if I end up married to Cheryl, then I've really done what the course says. He says, that's our problem. That's what's actually keeping us from being happy. Because when I decide that she's the thing that I've got to have in order to be happy, and she may not be, that will be keeping me from recognizing what would really make me happy. So every time you come up with another thing you think has to happen for you to be happy, you're actually taking yourself away from the source of your true happiness. Every time you do it. And then you go, well, I see everybody doing that. Everybody's making up what they think it is going to make them happy. How many of them do you know are really happy? I mean, really happy. So everybody's doing it, but you're not seeing anyone with any kind of conscious, permanent happiness. Why is that? Because they're all looking for it where it's not located. Does that mean I couldn't be happy with Cheryl? Of course I could be happy with Cheryl. I'm happy with Cheryl right now. And she's going to be happy with me as long as we're not married. That's the key to happiness with every woman I know. Is that if you're not married to me, we're going to get along. Because I am not going to act out your script. And you're not going to act out mine, and I'm no longer making that a requirement for relationships. How old do you have to get y'all before y'all realize that? Come on now. I don't see no spring chickens in this room. You know, we all been on this planet long enough to know that friggin' that doesn't work. But we keep on doing it because people keep lying to us at our request by telling us they're going to make us happy. Don't you? You meet somebody and there's a real connection, and then immediately y'all start lying. Oh, I'm going to make you so happy. I'm going to do everything you deserve. And it's so, and then we do it. And then we just become, and it's like, no. When you know there's nothing to fear, you won't have relationships to fear. You won't have people to fear. It means you'll have loving people in your life when you have nothing to fear. Because you don't. So, I love this stuff. Okay, I'm sustained by the love of God. It'll be the longest 5 paragraphs of your life. You ready?
Yeah.
Now, this is all about you being taken care of and sustained in total peace, total happiness, consistently all the time. Now, watch and see whether you stay alert. Don't you think if somebody was telling you what would make you be sustained no matter what, that would be worthwhile tuning to? Yeah. Watch yourself. Watch how your own ego is going to try to take you out. Even though we're about to be told exactly how to be sustained. Do you know why? Because it's not your plan. See, I want to make up my plan, and I want God to tell me how to get my plan to work out the way I want it to. I decide what I want to do, then I ask God for guidance. I always make up what I want to do, then I say, well, now God, your job is to make it happen just the way I decided that I wanted it to happen. The Course in Miracles says that's what we do all the time. We make up our mind, and then we go to the Creator. Constantly. I want Cheryl. I'm going to use you today, Cheryl. Okay. I want Cheryl, and then God showed me how to get Cheryl. I don't go, God, what would be give me the correct perception of relationship with Cheryl that would make me happy, and her too. The Course says when you become conscious, you always ask for the correct perception of things instead of the healing of the thing. Like instead of saying, I got a cancer problem, I don't ask for the healing of my cancer, I ask for the correct perception of cancer, I ask for the correct perception of my body. Because it's my perception in the way that I'm looking at it that's creating how I'm experiencing it. So a conscious being is always saying, give me the correct perception of my mama, my daddy, my boss, my job, my friend, my child. A person that's not conscious is always saying, change my mama, change my child, change my friend, change everything. So when you're unconscious, you're always asking for the thing to change instead of your perception of it to change. A conscious being is always saying, I want the correct perception of money if I have a money problem. I'm looking at money wrong. I'm looking at abundance wrong. So the Course in Miracles says, I am sustained by the love of God. So you could go, I am sustained by the love of God, I am sustained.
I am sustained by the love of
Sustained. Okay, so it says right here, don't you know that this is the answer to every problem that will confront you today, tomorrow, and throughout time? This is the answer to every problem that will ever confront you for the rest of your natural born life.
Wow.
Yes.
And in this world, you believe you're sustained by everything but God. In this world, you believe you're sustained by everything but God. You believe you're sustained by everything but your Creator. You believe you're sustained by everything but God. Then the Course in Miracles says, would you like me to elaborate on that? Yes. Then the Course in Miracles says, I'm going to really get dangerous now. I'm going to get into my iPad when I got fonts I can look at without my glasses. The Course in Miracles says, you really think you couldn't see if you didn't have little bits of glass before your eyes? I was like, yeah, that's about right. He says, but actually you don't realize you see everything in your mind, that your sight is not outside of your mind. You've never seen anything outside your mind. Everything you're looking at is inside your mind. That means we are all inside of each other's mind, and which means there must be just one mind, and we're all sharing it. Because I'm not outside of your mind, I'm inside of your mind. I'm not outside of you, I'm inside of you. You're not outside of me, you're inside of me. You're the parts of me that I feel separate from, and so since I feel separate from you, and then I'm going to project you, because you always project something that you're trying to separate from you. In order for it to be separate from you, it has to look like there's time and space between you. So because I want to believe I'm separate, that automatically creates you seeming like you are separate. I want to be separate. So I have to have a body to be separate in. The body has to look different from your body, and it have to look like space and time is between us. That's all coming from my desire to be separate and different. But it's all taking place inside of the one mind. Everything is happening inside of our one mind. We are one self. Now, we would be thrilled about that if we really liked each other. I don't like you, I project you. I don't like you, I don't reject you, I project you. I'm a pro-ejecting.
Yeah.
I'm a projector.
That's right.
Not a reject. That's an amateur, that's a reject. I'm a project. Okay. All right. So, in this world, you believe you're sustained by everything but God. What does that mean? It means your faith is placed in the most trivial and insane symbols. What are the most trivial and insane symbols that I have faith in? Well, let me tell you about Earl. His ego has total faith in, not God, I got faith in beta aspirin.
Wow.
I have faith in pills, especially birth control.
Yeah.
I think we take Viagra.
This is much more important. Birth control is a lot more important. I have faith in money. 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 I believe if I have money, I have everything that I need to be taken care of. If I have money, I'm going to have food to eat, I'm going to have rent, I'm going to have clothes to wear, I'm going to have shelter, I'm going to be able to take trips, and most of all, if I have money, I'm going to have lots of friends, I'm going to have lots of relationships. If I have money, then I have everything I need. My faith, I believe in money. Before I believe in God, I believe in money.
Wow.
Yep.
Then he says your faith is in protective clothing. If I don't wear a certain type of clothes during the wintertime, then I'm going to have serious problems with frostbite. Then it says your faith is placed in influence. You know, I think I'm going to get a job at Google because my cousin knows the general manager that runs that division. So it's influence. I believe I'm being taken care of by prestige. My God, that's Earl Purdy. That's the Course in Miracles. Woo-hoo, prestige. You know, I know Mary Ann Williams. Woo! We've done a lot of things together. Wow, prestige. And most of all, he says we have faith in being liked and knowing the right people.
Yeah.
So I don't have faith in God. I don't have faith in love. I don't have faith in spirit. I have faith in me, number one, because I know that's true because I have worries. Then the next thing I know about me, because I see this as an opportunity for me to come clean and tell the truth and release. See, when most people get depressed, it's like, to me, it's like, I'm confessing, and you are my priest, and I'm coming and I'm telling y'all all the stuff. I need to confess to y'all, my priest. I'm so bad I need a room full of, world full of people. And I like to confess I trust in my own strength more than I trust in God.
Yeah.
I'd like to tell you that my faith is placed in pills, money, protective clothing, influence, being liked, and knowing the right people.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be honest with you and tell you that my faith is in what the Course calls an endless list of nothingness that I endow with magical powers to protect me. So what is an endless list of nothingness that we endow with magical powers? He just told us.
Yeah.
The endless list of nothing that you endow with magical powers is what? Pills, money, protective clothing, influence, prestige, being like, knowing the right people, to name a few. That's the endless list of forms of illusion that the Course says we have complete faith in, but then we say, I got faith in God. No, you don't. You got faith in that paycheck. Some of you all know that. See, I'm willing to admit that. Not for, you know why? Because my feelings won't let me lie. See, your feelings won't let you lie. Your mind can lie to you, but your feelings won't let you lie. If you're sitting up here and you have less than joy, and you have less than peace, you're acting out exactly what this book is saying you're acting out, or you would be in a state of ecstatic bliss and peace and centeredness.
Yes.
So do not fool yourself into thinking that you really have it until you have the evidence of it, and the evidence of it is inner peace, inner joy, and you're not holding anything and anybody outside of you responsible for your happiness.
Hallelujah.
I don't do none of that completely in every situation, and I will tell you I don't. And in doing that, I feel free. Because I feel like I'm finally coming clean and telling the truth. Then I can get to work on getting past the endless list of forms of nothingness that I've been putting my attention on. Because a person who's pretending, I have faith in God, I do, oh my God, how am I going to accomplish this thing that's bothering me right now? See, that don't go together. That doesn't go together. I really believe this and I'm scared to death. No, you go, I'm trusting in my own strength, I'm trusting in my own strength, I'm trusting in my own strength, but there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to fear. I'm trusting in my own strength, but there's nothing to fear. I'm totally afraid right now, but there's nothing to fear, there's nothing. See, that's the way you do it. You tell the truth about your ego, and then you do what Spirit is telling you to do. It's not asking you to pretend like you're happy when you're not. It's saying, say you feel miserable right now and you're not happy. So positive thinking people go batshit crazy when you say, tell the truth about how you feel. And right now I don't feel good. But you can't say that. Or else people are like, oh no, you're going to make it happen. It's already happened. That's why I don't feel good. What you talking about? It's already happened. I'm just telling the truth about what's already occurred. What's wrong with that? Just like they said, don't say you got on a white dashiki, but I do. It's going to make you have one. I already got one. I'm just telling you what's already occurred. So there's nothing wrong with telling me what's already occurred. Right now I feel afraid. Right now I feel angry. Right now I feel jealous. That's what's already occurred. But there's nothing to fear. So then it goes on to say, all these things, I love it. He says, all these things are your what? Replacements for the love of God. So what's a replacement for the love of God? Pills, money, protective clothing, influence, being like, knowing the right people. Now, does that mean that there's something wrong with you using those things? No. It just means that those, if you don't believe in your, the Course says, that's why I can bring in the whole book when I'm teaching. The Course says, actually, if you believe already, then you wouldn't need any of these things. So you actually have more faith in these things than you have in the faith in God. So you should temporarily believe that these things will relieve your problem. I went, what? He says, yeah, it's all right to temporarily believe in external healing methods when your own ability to do it from within yourself hasn't happened yet. I'll say that again because it takes us off the hook. Yeah, my faith is more in if I have money, if I have a job to give me money. I have much more faith in that than to think I can sit up here and just go, I'm sustained by the love of God, and everything that I need just shows up in my life through no effort of my own whatsoever. No, I believe more that if I had a job and somebody gave me a paycheck, I'd have money. The only requirement is it has to be a job I don't like.
Yes.
Because the Course says that, you know, it's like there's a part of us that believes, the Course of Love said that there's a part of us believes that you get paid for doing what you don't like, and then everything that you do like is what you think you can't make money through. I want to be a musician. I don't think musicians can make money, but I can go to work at a factory and I can get money. So I get a job at a factory real fast that'll pay me, because I believe it's easier for me to get money through doing the things I don't like to do than it is for me to get money through things I do like to do. And that's why so many people have jobs that they don't like, because that's what they believe that they can receive money through. But if you say you want to be an artist and everybody go, oh, you're an artist, you're going to starve. You'll see, that's the programming. You can't do your creative talent and the thing that you love and be sustained by it. It took a lot of courage for me to go, I love the Course in Miracles. I want to be a teacher of the Course in Miracles. I want to be a facilitator of it, especially 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because nobody would say that was a smart move, especially to leave a really good corporate job to do it. But but when you have a calling, it's not a job. A calling is not a job. A calling is not a job. A calling is what you feel like you are meant to do on this earth regardless. A job is not that. Having a career is not the same as a calling. You want to find your calling. And your calling is the thing that inspires you to do it, and you would do it regardless of what was going on. I would teach regardless of whether I have a lot of people or not. Obviously. Okay, so it ain't about numbers. It's about your calling. So I would advise you to move in the direction of your inspiration. But to know that you're sustained by the love of God is the way that you do it without being terrified. I would have 30 years of terror if I believed I was being sustained by what?
Yeah.
Knowing the right people who I'm able to influence. You see what I'm saying? Because then you're going to give up your own authenticity, because you'll be constantly trying to do what pleases everybody and keeps them around more than doing the thing that's your true calling. So if I didn't believe God was sustaining me at some level, then it would be no fun to be doing my inspiration. So if you have no belief in God or nothing that's sustaining you beyond your own ego, get a job. Don't say you want to do your own thing and you haven't worked on what? Knowing you're sustained by the love of God. So let's go on. Let's see what we got here. A calling. Talisha says a calling is not a job. Thank you for that. Lebet says I'm sustained. Yvette says I'm sustained by the love of God. A calling is not a job. Prima says preach, brother. Nana says these things are part of my happy dream. Nana says I trust right up until some fear shows up. I'm the most trusted person in the world until some fear shows up. Okay, that's true. An endless list of nothing will not sustain me. I confess all my mess on Facebook. Okay. All of us belong to the Church of Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Large congregation on Facebook. Okay. It says, only the love of God will sustain you. In all circumstances, only the love of God will sustain you. The love of God will lift you out of every trial. The love of God will raise you high above all the perceived dangers of this world. The love of God will raise you high above all the perceived dangers of this world. The love of God will raise you high above all the perceived dangers of this world. Into what? A climate of perfect peace and safety. The love of God, God's love for you, will lift you above all the dangers you think you see in this world into a climate of perfect safety and peace. The love of God, what does that mean? God's love for you. God's love, we keep putting it that way. Your Creator's love for you. Your Creator's love for you will, like Star Trek, transport you. It really is a lot to that beam me up, Scotty. You know, it's like beam me up, Spirit. Beam me up, God. Beam me up out of this worry. Beam me up out of this concern. Beam me up out of this hurt, this pain, this separation, this guilt. Raise me high above it into a climate of perfect peace and safety. It says, it will transport you into a state of mind. Now that's interesting. So it says you're going to be transported into a state of peace and safety, but then the next sentence it says, I'm going to transport you into a mental state. So you're going to be transported into another state of consciousness, another state of mind where nothing can threaten you, nothing can disturb you, and nothing can intrude upon your eternal calm. Let's get this straight. Let me get this straight. Okay, when I call on God, God is going to transport me where? Above the perceived dangers of this world into a climate of perfect peace and safety. That means I'm going to be transported into a state of mind that nothing can disturb. I'm here, nothing can disturb me. I am here, nothing can disturb me. I am here, nothing can threaten me. Nothing can threaten me. Now, if I have a state of mind that cannot be threatened, if I have a state of mind that nothing can threaten, then there will be nothing in the physical reality to threaten me, because everything in my physical reality is a projection of my state of mind.
That's good.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Do you hear me now? I'm going to get to the question in just a second. So hold them tight. Yeah. That I'm going to be transported into a state of mind that nothing can disturb me. Everything you're perceiving is your state of mind. Everything you're experiencing is your state of mind. So at the point you have a state of mind that nothing can disturb, then you are in perfect peace and safety.
That's right.
My brother, you had your hand up?
I was just staying in agreement with you.
Oh, cool. Do it again.
I'll give you two.
You give me two? That'll work. That'll work. Okay, did you hear me? Did you hear me there, brothers and sisters?
Yes.
Did you hear me?
Yes.
So what does the Course in Miracles do? The Course in Miracles corrects your perception so that you can go to another state of mind. The Course in Miracles gives you new interpretations of things that will give you a peaceful state of mind. So the Course in Miracles is working at the causative level, and the causative level is the mental level. Humans, egos, like to operate at the effect level. And so they're always trying to clean up the mess they've already made rather than stop making the mess to begin with. So a person is always screwing things up and then trying to deal with the result of what they've screwed up, where the Course is saying, let's get to the cause of the screwing up.
Yeah.
And let's not make that happen anymore. Okay? Then, any questions about that paragraph right quick? You with me? Who's still with me? Somebody still with me? Okay, all right, here we go. Now, don't put your faith in illusions. What are illusions? Illusions are pills, money, protective clothing, influence, prestige, being liked, knowing the right people. He says, don't put your faith in illusions. Illusions will fail you. Put all your faith in the love of God within you. What is the love of God within you? It says, I'm going to tell you. The love of God within you is eternal, changeless, and it never fails. So put your faith in what you can always count on, the love that's never going to leave, and it can never fail you. Start putting your faith in things that don't ever fail you. So that means I need to withdraw my faith in special human love. Because it is not eternal, it is not changeless, and it is not forever unfailing. So you know what happens when you become a person like that? The ego says, wow, that doesn't sound cool. Actually, that's where your peace comes from. Because if I don't have any faith in your human love being eternal and unfailing and never changing, when it does that, I won't get hurt, so I don't have a grievance against you, because I know you don't know how to do that all the time anyway, so I can forgive you when you don't pull it off.
That's right.
So when people hear this, it sounds negative. It's not. I'm glad I don't have any faith in y'all's love. Because I know your love is like my love. We learned a love that's based on conditions. So I know you love me as long as I meet a certain condition, and I love you as long as you meet a certain condition. So when you change, I won't freak out, because I know it was conditional to begin with. How do I know that? By how upset you get with me about one thing or another. I didn't exactly hit me. How do you know I don't have eternal love for you? You threw your shoe at me last night.
But I love you.
Yes, but that's because I love you. That's exactly what the ego says. So that's the crap. Like, well, I wouldn't have tried to kill you if you didn't mean so much to me. Well, don't love me that much. It's okay. You don't have to love me. You know what I'm saying? So the Course says, this is the answer to whatever confronts you today. And I always do it like this. What is the answer to whatever confronts me today? The love of God. What's the love of God? It's eternal, changeless, and forever unfailing. This is the answer to whatever confronts you today. Through the love of God within who? You. You can resolve all, what kind of difficulties? Seeming difficulties. How? Without effort and ensure confidence. Through God's love, you can resolve every difficulty you think you have in what? No effort and certain confidence. See, I like to have stuff solved for me with no effort. I'm into no effort.
Yeah.
I like no effort. I'm an expert and no effort.
Right. Yeah.
So God would come up with a plan for my healing that would involve what? No effort. Because the plan is going to always be tailored to your personality. So people who don't like to put forth a whole lot of effort, this is your curriculum.
Good.
Right? He says, but what? Through God's love for you, you can resolve all seeming difficulties without effort and ensure confidence. And then what's the instruction? Tell yourself this often today. Tell yourself what? Through the love of God within me, I can resolve all seeming difficulties without effort and ensure confidence. Through the love of God within me. Through the love of God within me, I can resolve all seeming difficulties without effort and ensure confidence. Through the love of God within me, I can resolve all seeming difficulties without effort and ensure confidence. See, you can do it like a kirtan. You can do it like a chant. Through the love of God within me, I can resolve all seeming difficulties without effort and ensure confidence. Through the love of God within me, I can resolve all seeming difficulties without effort and ensure confidence. Through the love of God within me, I can resolve all seeming difficulties without effort and ensure confidence. Through the love of God within me, I can resolve all seeming difficulties without effort and ensure confidence. What is the instruction? Tell yourself this often today. Because it's a declaration of release. It's a declaration of what? Release? Release from what? My belief in idols, fears. What? It releases me from my belief in pills, money, protective clothing, influence, being liked, and knowing the right people taking care of me. That's my idol. Yeah. See, my idol is the money, the pills, the influence, being liked. And that's what I think is taking care of me. I need to be free from that belief because that belief is not true. That is not what's taking care of me. It's God that's taking care of me, and it comes to me in the form I can accept it in. And the form I can accept it in is pills, money, protective clothing, influence, prestige. So it's really using my idols to actually make me aware that I'm sustained. But, this is a big but. Y'all got big butts out?
I like big butts.
Okay. The but is, there's a certain point, though, that won't happen no more. It's a certain point that you really got to go to God, that you can't keep going to the idols. Let me tell you, this is deep. Now hear this. It works like this. Pretend I'm God. Black God. Okay, pretend I'm God. Okay, I sustain everything for Jason. Jason is saying, God, give me money. So Jason isn't coming to me. Jason is going to the idol he's made up that he thinks is going to take care of him. So every time I give Jason money, it's actually taking him further away from the truth. Because it's going to convince him even more that money was the answer.
No.
So if it looks like your prayers and answers because you praying to an idol, and spirit is not going to support your belief that the idol is what's taking care of you. So then you got to go out and make the money. But if I say I'm sustained by the love of God, then God will give it to me in the form that I need it the most. As long as I don't confuse the channel with the source. And we confuse the channel with the source.
Oh, yeah.
I'll say it again. If you say you want to, see, I'm going to tell you something. Saying that you want to manifest something is not the same as saying you want spiritual awakening. It's not the same as saying you want to know the truth. When you say, I want to manifest a car, I want to manifest a house, I want to manifest a successful business. That is not the same as saying I want to have a healed relationship with my Creator, and that's my #1 priority. So when a person says, I'm going to get on the spiritual path, I'm going to study the Course in Miracles, and I'm going to study the Way of Mastery, I'm going to study all these spiritual books. Watch it. Because what you're saying is, I want to recognize the truth. And when you say that, everything you are doing that is not the truth, it comes up for you to deal with. You get a chance to see where you're lying to yourself about everything. And that's what most people can't handle. To know the truth, I have to know what's not true. The Course says the truth cannot be explained. The truth cannot be described. It says that you find out what the truth is by recognizing what it's not. And then it says, it's not anger. It's not jealousy. It's not attack. It's not specialness. That's all. The love is centered on one person above all those other things. So all of a sudden you start recognizing what's not love in your life, where you thought it was love, which is great because now you'll stop deceiving yourself, and if you stop deceiving yourself, you'll stop being hurt. But your ego freaks because your ego is the part of you that is made up that your happiness is the pills, the money, the specialness, and all of that. So that part of you is going to resist this like hell. It's the part of you that goes, I'm ready to grow.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? And you all over again, not to mess with you, but to mess with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to go, stop, don't give into your ego. Stop giving into your ego. Stop siding with your ego. Stay conscious. Stay conscious. Stay awake. Stay awake. Aren't you tired of suffering? Aren't you tired of being afraid? Aren't you tired of struggling?
Yes.
Aren't you tired of thinking about being taken care of and how you're going to be taken care of and worrying about if you're going to meet the one? Aren't you tired?
Yes.
You tired of wondering about how you're going to pay your rent, if you're going to pay your rent, what's going to happen with the economy?
Yeah.
If North Korea going to bum the hell out of us?
Yeah.
I'm tired of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I want to know the truth behind the illusion, which is what it's telling us, that if you were to tell yourself, through the love of God within me, I can resolve all seeming difficulties without effort and ensure confidence. He says, how? Tell yourself this often today. It's a declaration of release from the BS. Let's paraphrase.
Yeah.
And it is your acknowledgement of the truth about yourself. The truth about myself is I am able to be sustained through the love of God and see all my difficulties resolved.
That's right.
Last paragraph. It says, for 10 minutes. Oh my God, that is just too long for me to have total prosperity, abundance, and love, and doing things I love to do every day freely. Answering my call. 10 minutes? Jeez. Twice? In 24 hours, you asking me to do this 2 times a half to know I'll be taken care of for the rest of my life and beyond? Oh, this is just too much. I'd rather go work 12 hours. We're so crazy. So crazy. So crazy. Did y'all see how crazy we are?
Yeah.
Am I the only one that sees that we got a part of us that's just crazy as hell? There's no end to how much suffering it'll put itself through. I'm attracted to you, Cheryl. That's the same as saying I'm attracted to my pattern. That's why I singled you out, babe. That's why you single out anybody. Oh, you're my next lesson in forgiveness. You're coming in just the form I need to forgive in. That's all it is, according to the Course. You're attracted to people because they remind you of a past grievance, but you don't know that, so you go ahead and get in a relationship and tell yourself it's something different. Then later on you find out, we're having to forgive ourselves. We got some issues that are going on. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? But it didn't start out that way, did it? It didn't start out the way it started out. Oh, this is the best thing in the world that I could possibly have. But later on, I'm having to forgive them. That's because that was the goal of the relationship to begin with. They were being drawn to you and you were being drawn to them so that you could purge yourselves of things that need to be released within you. You chose the person that was going to push all your buttons to make you get in touch with what you need to be freed of so that you could truly be happy. But you certainly wouldn't, let's face it, the mouse wouldn't go into the mouse trap if it wasn't for the cheese. It can't look like that at the beginning and you never do it. It's got to look like, this is it, this is the one that's going to do it for me. Or you would never enter the relationship. It's got to look like, this is it. But what you saw at the beginning was a preview of common attractions. You saw how loving the relationship will be when you let go of your stuff and recognize the truth and allow Spirit to heal your mind. Then all that beauty you saw at the beginning, it will be there and it will be real.
Woo!
That's good news. That's good news. But in the beginning, they're going to play you like a piano. So just because you by yourself, you think you're enlightened. That's because nobody's playing your piano. A piano that was sitting up here with nobody playing it, like that one, doesn't seem like it'll make a sound. So the piano could go, I'm enlightened. Nothing bothers me. Nobody's playing you. But as soon as you get in a relationship, that's like somebody sitting down at the keys. And then all of a sudden, you see you got a C flat. You should have been a B sharp. I'm telling you, relationships are perfect for your enlightenment. Because they will not allow you to pretend you're something that you're not. Or you'll find out you're more than you thought you were.
Oh, yeah.
You might find out you are more lovable than you could have ever imagined.
That's right.
Telling you, this whole thing is set up to free us from pain. All of this is set up. It's designed. is organized. It is no accident you were born, where you were, who you were born to, your race, your sex, your country. Everything about your life is part of a divine organization at a level that you can't even comprehend. And it's all in your favor.
Yes.
It's not set up to
Yes.
hurt you.
Yes.
It's set up to free you.
Yes.
Okay, so it says to us, for 10 minutes, twice a day, when? Morning and evening, let the idea do what? Sink into your consciousness. Repeat it. Repeat what? I'm sustained by the love of God. Think about it. I'm sustained by the love of God. Let related thoughts come to help you recognize it's true. What's true? I'm sustained by the love of God. Allow peace to flow over you like a blanket. Here's my peace. Allow peace to flow over you like a blanket of protection and surety. Don't let any idle and foolish thoughts enter to disturb your holy, healing mind, you child of God. Stop letting these idle, stupid ego thoughts enter into your mind to keep you upset all the time about one thing or another, son of God. It says, that's the kingdom of heaven. What's the kingdom of heaven? You're not being crazy. You're not having a bunch of crazy thoughts that's always keeping you upset about one thing. And so that's the kingdom of heaven. What is the kingdom of heaven? It says it's the resting place. It's a resting place where your Creator placed you forever. It's a resting place where love placed you forever. I want to be in a resting place where love places me. How long? Forever. I want to be in a place of total rest, total tranquility, total joy, total safety, total peace. I want to allow myself to be in that resting place from now on. Give it up, Holy Spirit. Whoa! Give it up louder for you. Come on now. Give it up louder for you. I'm telling you. So we're going to do a quick takeaway right at the end before you go out into the lab. And those of you online, thank you for sharing. Let's do the financial expression of appreciation. Right now, we thank you here in my teaching ministry, and we thank you here at Unity Temple. So it's so good and such a blessing that it comes to you when you share where you feel like you're being spiritually fed. It's not a sacrifice. It's not charity. It's you giving from your heart, and I appreciate that. Those of you online, if you'd like to also make a financial expression of appreciation, then just go to my website, earlpurdy.com, earlpurdy.com. And I want to help you go past your blocks because it helps me go past my blocks. And so I do clarity sessions to make this more practical in your life. Go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and it explains the services that I offer, and also use my knowledge of astrology and numerology for people who are interested and open-minded to it. Because that's just another way for the universe to communicate. Thank you. There's just another way for Spirit to communicate with us. Every Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time, Facebook Live, Course in Miracles. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, Way of Mastery. 7 p.m. Thursday nights, Facebook Live, A Course of Love. Check them all out. You may find that one of the teachings resonate with you more than another. You may find all of them do. Spirit will come to you in many different forms until it comes to you in the form that will inspire you to actually do something other than just listening and makes you want to do it. That was what attracted me to the Course in Miracles. I had a black belt in metaphysical New Thought teachings. Okay, I could digest a book in 2 seconds. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Here's the next book, here's the next book, here's the next book. But I would read it, put it down, read it, put it down. So, oh, that's really good, put it down. I got to the Course in Miracles, I had to do it. A true Course student, you don't have a choice. You have all the resistance you see everybody else have, but you still find yourself going right back to it, because it's your path. And so I really want to advise you to still keep checking out things. If you haven't found a path that makes you actually want to live it, then you haven't located your path yet. So therefore, keep checking out all the latest books that are saying the same thing in a different way. But maybe it will come in a way that will move you. It's not like it's saying anything I have never heard before in one form or another, but it's something about the way A Course in Miracles is worded that smacks you, just the way that it's said. Just like today, when it says, oh, you say you're sustained by the love of God. No. You innocent and cute and sweet and everything, but You believe in pills, money, protective clothing, influence, being like knowing the right people. That's what you really believe in. See, that's deep. That's just straight up truth. That's no holding back.
Yeah.
And then I go, you know something? You're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I do think if I won the Powerball, that would work out for me more than doing 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be honest about that. The Powerball does seem like that would be the thing to come. That would make everything better. I can buy as many friends as I need. Not the mental romance. I mean, like people like falling all over each other, wanting to go out, no matter how old I am. Mick Jagger proved that. You know, so Mick Jagger proved you can be 80 and still be putting somebody 19 if you're that insane. But, you know, I don't know why you want somebody 19. But anyway, you know, who knows? She might be enlightened. There's no living body. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Or you might be the spiritual cougar. You don't know what's going to happen. Some ancient woman from way back 900 years. You know what I'm saying? You know, I was back in the time of Egypt. I like you. You know. So let's see what some of our brothers and sisters have said to end this with. Oh God, this is great. Any comments in here? Anybody here any ahas that they want to share? What was one thing you heard today that you would really like to hang on to?
This is just my go-to lesson whenever I'm in trouble. I am sustained by the love of God. It's the one that I always remember.
Yeah, especially when I think I'm afraid about anything that's about taking care of me. It's like I go straight to this when I go to the park. And I've learned over the years that you always should read it until you feel some sense of relief. And if it takes 3 hours for you to get to the point that you feel a little bit better, then you read 3 hours. You don't set no time and go, I'm going to do this for 10 minutes. I did it for 10 minutes and it didn't work.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, 10 minutes didn't work because 10 minutes is not enough. That's why 10 minutes didn't work. It's not enough. See, the first thing that happens when the world tries to make me think that I am afraid and I'm trusting in my own strength, I put my butt in my car, I go to City Park, I don't stay that far from City Park, I spread out a blanket, if I'm there all afternoon, if that's how long it takes for me to believe and start to hear something that is saying, that's what it do. And what I do, and I cannot tell you, I cannot even begin to tell you how many times I've gone home and I would have a message or something, and the whole situation that I was freaked out about would have been resolved. Too much for it to be an accident. Yeah. Too much for it to be an accident. See, you can read yourself out of your problems, but it's different when you are spending that time between you and Holy Spirit yourself. That's a different kind of reading. That's a different kind of listening than just only coming to a class. Because it took intention, it took commitment, and it took willingness for me to sit down on that blanket and open it. And that is not the same as listening to a video or listening to an audio, because you know you can be completely distracted into other things, and that's going on in the background. That's helpful. It's helpful to do those things, but nothing takes the place of you taking your personal attention and study and focusing in on the truth. Do not fool yourself about that. Just hearing it alone is support, but it's not the ultimate answer to it. Are you with me? Are you with me?
Yeah.
All right. Those of you online said, I'm going to let it sink into my consciousness, wonderful blanket idea. I'm sustained by the love of God alone. Yvette says there's no accidents or coincidences. My keys are getting played a lot, especially by my partner. You know what I'm saying? And the sound is getting better. My keys are being played and the sound is getting better. I like that. I am sustained by the love of God. Let's say it. I am sustained by the love of God. Let's say it. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. Hear it. I am sustained by the love of God. What? I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. There is nothing to fear. 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 There is nothing because I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. We are 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 sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. And there's nothing to fear. There is 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 nothing to fear because
I am sustained by the love of God.
say what?
I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God.
Not heels,
I am sustained by
money,
the love of
protective clothing,
I am
influence, prestige, be like. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained. 1 minute to go. You can do it. It's 1 minute to the end of the song. I know this is tougher than 10 hours at work. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by I'm going to look at you, and I'm going to say, you are sustained by the love of, tell somebody, you are sustained by the love of God. You are sustained by the love of God. Online, you are sustained by the love of God. You are sustained by the love of Patrick. You are sustained by the love of God. You are sustained by the love of God. That's so cute. You are sustained. One more time. I am sustained by the love of bountiful. I am sustained by the love of all the time. 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 All of the time. Give it up, my little companion. Woo! Thank you so much for joining with me on getting past our false beliefs.
Yes.
Yeah. May the course be with you. Those are available. Thank you, mighty companions online. Y'all awesome.
I'll take one of those.
Will you take one of those?